Okay, the next one, push-ups, classic. And women historically have a harder time with push-ups than men in terms of upper body strength, but still women can do push-ups, and I've seen lots of very strong women bang out a lot of push-ups. So it just takes time to get into shape to make these something that you feel good with and stronger to do. Push-ups can be done to target a lot of the upper body front muscle groups, as well as they'll actually hit the abdominals, the obliques, the serratus, and some of the back muscles. So a push-up, there's lots of different ways to do push-ups, but I like starting with a neutral position, hands placed on the floor, just about such that the inside of my thumbs pointing toward each other are just under the inside of my shoulder. So this is a push-up. So my back is flat. I'm keeping my head neutral to my chest, torso. I'm not in extension. I'm not in flexion. Try to be neutral. And my hands are placed just barely out in front of my chest. And I keep my back flat. I try not to elevate my rear end. I try not to sag down. Try to keep myself just in a nice straight plane. So here we go. We're going to go down slowly, and the chest is going to touch the floor. And then up. And for purposes of the demonstration, I'm going to lock out at the top so you can see the form. But when I do a set of push-ups, I'm going to try to be fluid and not lock out my elbows at the top. So I'm going to touch the floor and come up just before lockout and come down again. Just a nice, smooth, fluid motion. Not really touching the floor, but coming close. Full ranges of motion. Nice and controlled. And you can really feel that just after a few reps. You're going to feel that in your chest, your shoulders, your triceps. You'll feel that in your abs because you're trying to keep everything in a straight line. You're going to feel that in your abdominals, your lower back, your obliques. I'll tell you what, I'm used to pushing myself during workouts. And I'm already a little bit out of breath just doing that. I mean, these are great exercises that you can really build up some strength and fitness. And with good technique, you're not compromising your skeleton, your spine. You're keeping yourself in the wellness category. Okay, next one, hover push-ups. These again can be used to gain strength in all the upper body muscle groups. It's a great primer for regular push-ups. If you're not ready for regular push-ups, this is a great way to begin. I'll back up to regular push-ups too quickly. For those who are not ready to go up on their toes, if this feels too difficult, then simply come up onto your knees. Same basic position otherwise. Coming down and up. And you'll still feel that's a terrific workout. And you know, I would shoot for one set of 10. You can build up from that in terms of sets and reps. The next one, hover push-ups, is a great primer for the regular push-up, and also as an adjunctive exercise. And the hover push-up is like this. Again, hands about the same position, and I'm simply going to come down and hover over the floor and hold it. And just hold. It's kind of like a modified push-up plank in holding that position. And if you can hold that position, you know, start maybe try to hold it for 5 seconds. If that's easy enough, build up to 10. When you know, as much as you can, work your way up. Eventually being able to hold that position for at least 30 seconds. And that is not easy to do. But right now I feel all the muscles in my upper body, my abs, even my back, flexing and contracting. And I'm starting to shake a little bit. So that's a great way to build up strength. That kind of isometric contraction to build up strength for the next level, which would be obviously the push-up. But again, even if you can do the push-ups, that's a great thing to mix in as an alternative or in addition to. Okay, next one, planks, my favorite for the core. So there's a big buzz now about core exercise, core strength. I think planks are probably the #1 most important exercise for core development, because the plank helps you fire off what are called the multifidus, which are little bands of muscle that attach usually 3 spinal segments at a time on either side of the spine all the way from the lower back over the sacrum up to the cervical spine, all the way to the top of the neck. And these are great exercises for building stability. And I think a lot of the times that we see patients come in the office with back pain, it's because their core is weak, they're not able to sustain normal alignment, and their body compensates. And these little multifidus muscles are likely to contract asymmetrically and in small groups in very localized areas. So you can go into spasm, and those are a lot of times when I dig in on people's lower back, especially the lower back, they're going to feel that, and that's going to make them just want to kind of curl up, very, very tight muscle. And when they're weak, they tend to overcompensate, and especially if they stay contracted, they fixate the spinal joints, and they cause that immobility ultimately to breed inflammation, which breeds degenerative changes to the bones themselves, the precursor to the arthritis, as well as the degenerative disc disease that we see a lot of people come in for with degenerative bulging disc, herniated disc, things like that. So this is a great way to keep those muscles strong and fit and balanced, keeping you moving rather than acting like a brace, splinting, which creates other issues. So there are ways to do the plank in the beginning. I would say probably you don't want to do a plank exercise more than 3 times a week maximum. And to do the plank, you simply hold a position similar to a push-up on the floor, but I'm on my elbows this time. And up on my toes with my elbows just below my shoulders. And I just kind of rest my hands here together, and I'm holding that position straight. Again, I'm not sagging, and I'm not elevated. I keep my head kind of neutrally positioned, and I'm just holding that. And just holding this position, I can feel all of my lower back through the torso, the serratus, the side muscles around the obliques, the entire abdominal region, a little bit on my back, my upper back, and my outside of my lats are firing right now. I can feel that a little bit. And you want to try to hold this in the beginning. If you can hold this for 10 seconds, keep pushing, and make your body work a little bit. You want to just perform 1 plank for your maximum duration in the beginning, and eventually work your way up. And there are people that do this. We would do this for maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes and holding it. But in the beginning, if you could do 30 seconds, that's great. 1 minute, fantastic. And it's a tolerance thing, and as you get stronger, you'll be able to do it longer. But it's a very safe and effective way to target the entire core. And I'll tell you, that's a good exercise. You'll feel that. And again, I would shoot for, as far as the planks go, 1 plank. Hold it for your longest duration. There is no right or wrong. If it's 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, do the best you can. Shoot for 1. And in fact, my favorite thing is to just utilize that plank that way. I would use that exercise as a one-shot deal. Rather than do multiple series of planks, I would hold a plank for as long as I can. And that's the way I would gauge my progress and strength with the plank. Okay. So then we move on to, there are also lateral planks. And a lateral plank is a deviation from that, again stabilizing one side versus the other. And you can lay on the floor, do the same thing for the, really focusing more on the serratus and the obliques, and holding this position in a straight line as much as you can. I'm just keeping my elbow beneath my shoulder and trying to keep my back straight. And I'm going to hold that again as long as I can. And then I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. And I think 1 plank in each direction is great. So 1 straight, 1 on one side, 1 on the other side. So far, with all this talking and description, I think we're only into this for about 15 minutes. 19 minutes already? Okay. But obviously, on your own, going right through these things with minimal rest in between, you'll be accomplishing this pretty quickly.